Welcome to The Cleaning, a podcast about Apple TV's Silo. This week we're talking about Season 3, Episode 2, It's All Good. This is our spoiler look, our book versus show look, at how events in this episode compare to the corresponding events in the novels. In addition to breaking down plot developments from this episode, Season 3, Episode 2, I'm also going to look at your feedback and go deeper into the gender swap of Senator Thurman from a male character in the novels to a female character on the TV show. Plus, we'll look at Senator Thurman's daughter, Anna. We'll have kind of a big discussion about how close to her novel counterpart this daughter, Anna, will be. I'm going to also talk about the feedback you gave me in our spoiler breakdown of Episode 1. Plus, I'm going to go deeper into that spoiler about Bernard. This is a show-only spoiler that I feel like I gave away last week, but it feels like from the comments you guys need a bit more information, so I'm going to save that for the very, very end. But hey, let's jump in and talk about this second episode of Season 3, It's All Good. And didn't you love that scene with Charlotte calling Senator Daniel Donald, his character in the book? So if you were somehow watching this spoiler breakdown and you didn't read the second book, Shift, the character in the book's name is Donald, but the TV show, for various reasons, changed the character's name to Daniel. So that was a little shout out to us book readers. Thank you, show. I thought it was a fun little shout out. What did you guys think? Are you frustrated that they're certainly aware of all the changes? And oh Lord, there's so many in this show. One thing I think the show could be hinting at, and I didn't mention this in our breakdown with my co-host of the episode, with no spoilers, but I wonder if I'm going to read this line from the episode where the doctor was talking to Daniel, and the doctor said, "You'll need artifacts to bring back the old memories." Meaning, hey, here's this old, dog leash, which will help her maybe remember a dog that the family used to have. Is it possible that the Pez dispenser will be the artifact that helps Daniel get his memories back? So as you remember in the books, Daniel, they're messing with his memory. And is it possible that the Pez dispenser is going to be what helps him get his memories back? And I think that could be a fun way. What do you guys think? I'm trying to see how these episodes tie into the books. And there's so much new stuff or stuff that doesn't have a correlation. When I find little things like this, like, oh, is Daniel going to get his memory back by seeing the Pez dispenser? That's one of the things I think. What do you think? As I love to say, these are my opinions, and I hope you find them interesting, but I want to know your opinions. If you're watching this on YouTube, please subscribe. I want you on this journey with me. Go down in the comments and leave your thoughts. Give me a like, give me a hype. If you're listening to this as part of our audio podcast, and you can search for The Cleaning Podcast on all your favorite audio podcast apps, reach out to us on social media at PHQ. The word double, the single letter P for podcast, HQ for headquarters, at PHQ. We repost information about Silo all the time. Like what broke today is that Apple TV is bringing a Silo experience. A Silo panel, yes, but a Silo experience, which is outside the conference center there in San Diego Comic-Con. So anybody can go. You don't even have to have a ticket to Comic-Con. You can go. We post information like that all the time on our social media channels. So hey, please subscribe. Once again, I'm in the spoiler section. It's just me. My co-host has not read the final two books, so he can't be here. I don't want to just talk into the void. I want to talk with you. So, hey, give me your thoughts and comments. On the spoiler podcast about the first episode of Season 3, I already talked about Senator Thurman being gender swapped. I'm going to talk a bit more about it, but I want to get to your comments first. We had Becky, who left the comment, "I also really hate the gender swap of Senator Thurman. So disappointing." Somebody with user handle Buck said, "I'm not a fan of the Thurman gender swap." Somebody with Gaming Thunder said the gender swap makes no sense. Mark Studebaker said, "Why would they gender swap the senator?" Ignacior said, "I've read the books, but I don't understand why they gender swap Thurman." Ignacior continues, "To be clear, I'm okay with a woman playing the role, but Thurman in the books was like a father figure to Daniel." And I said that last week. He was also a mentor, and that's how I really saw him, as like a mentor to this young politician. A user with the handle 117 Derek, who's given me lots of great feedback on various shows in the past, wrote, It may have been mentioned, but the gender switch on the senator may have been because there was a real life Senator Strom Thurmond from South Carolina back in the 50s, actually from the 50s. He may have lived into and served into the 90s. And so Derek wrote, there may be some issues with a resemblance to persons living or dead that they want to avoid. Well, Derek, yeah, that could be true. I wrote back to Derek and I said, I honestly think that Hugh Howey named Senator Thurmond as a character in the books because he wanted us to think of Strom Thurmond, and Strom Thurmond, from a modern point of view, I'm trying to think of a polite way to say it. A lot of people would hate his views nowadays. Strom Thurmond had a bit of a conscious come to Jesus moment right before he died, but he was really, really a bad guy. So anyway, I guess I didn't really stress this too much last week, but a part of me thinks, this might not be a big deal. And I'm not sure I hate it or love it. I just want to see. I don't think it's the end of the world that they gender swapped him. But of course, ding, 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 many people wrote in, and it's not specifically, hey, just he's a mentor, he's a father figure. There's a very important plot point where Daniel has to impersonate Senator Thurmond for long periods of time. Nichols 64 wrote, Daniel pretends to be Thurmond in the book. That's going to be a lot harder if Thurmond is a woman. A. Pocken said, I'm not sure how they're going to do the Thurmond-Daniel switch as it's done in the books if there's been this gender swap. And Imperial Captain also said, hey, Daniel's supposed to impersonate Thurmond. How is that going to work in the show? Well, as I mentioned last week, we haven't met him through 2 episodes of season 3, but the show is introducing a character that does not exist in the books. This, dare I say it, Elon Musk stand-in, this trillionaire stand-in called Per Stenson, played by Colin Hanks. In my YouTube video, I'll put up a picture of the actor who plays Daniel and Colin Hanks. The actors have a vague enough resemblance to each other, meaning they're both white guys with dark hair. So if in the show, Daniel impersonates Per Stenson, they would look more like each other than Daniel does with an old male Senator Thurmond from the book. So possibly that's what the show's going to do. I would also mention to all you guys that this show, there's a lot of things I love in these books that the show just doesn't do at all, that the show just throws it out. I thought the communication between Lucas and Juliette when they were talking between silos on the radio in the books, I thought that was brilliant and lovely. And the show just threw that out and replaced it with a very slow pace and no communication between the silos. So there's no guarantee that the show will do the Daniel impersonate Senator Thurmond story. And now that Senator Thurmond is a woman, I think it's highly unlikely he will. If he does it, I'm guessing he'll impersonate Per Stenson, but we'll see. Speaking of Senator Thurmond, let's go over the daughter, Anna Thurmond. And in the books, I mentioned last week, Daniel and Helen are already married. They're in love. They're deep in love. That's already happened. In the books, though, he knows Anna ahead of time. He doesn't meet Anna. He's known her. And even though he's happily married, he looks at Anna, and as a terrible husband occasionally looks at a beautiful woman, he's like, oh boy, she's still attractive. I got to stop thinking about her. And spoiler alert, in the books, Anna is crazy about him. And so this is one of those things where 2 episodes in, Helen and Daniel, not only are they not married, right now there's almost like no spark that they could fall in love. I believe they're going to fall in love, but the first 2 episodes of season 3, they haven't shown it at all. Like, so if they're going to fall in love, let's have some romantic scenes show. Anna has had scenes with Daniel in the first 2 episodes. They went together to lunch, I guess you would say, in episode 2 here, but it really didn't feel like there were a lot of sparks there either. But in this second book shift, Anna, a way you would think about her is she is Daniel crazy. Donald's the character's name in the book, but she is hot for this dude. She doesn't care he's married. She is, is in a popular movie right now in 2026, Obsession. She is obsessed with him. And so, I'm not going to say I'm some enlightened person, but there could be a thought that maybe the Anna in the book is what I have been calling 2-dimensional. And I got this funny feedback from Dan, who wrote, hey, you're calling these characters two-dimensionals. I think you're trying to say that these characters are one-dimensional. Well, Dan, you may be right. I was calling them two-dimensional, meaning they're like cartoon or paper thin and not three-dimensional characters. But anyway, listeners, I want you guys to tell me, Anna, she's like the character in Fatal Attraction. She just wants this dude, Daniel. And so the question would be, is that kind of a type of character you don't put in a show anymore? Do you think they'll have Anna fall hard for Daniel, or is it going to be something else? Through 2 episodes, again, they're not showing a huge spark. They're not showing her being like, oh, let me check out this guy. He's good. So I don't think it's the worst thing. It might be make her a more three-dimensional character if she has other kind of wants and needs other than I want that man. But what do you guys think? I don't think you're supposed to love the character Anna in the books. You're kind of supposed to hate her, right? What do you guys think? 2 episodes in, obviously there's a lot more to go. But what do you think? Should they change Anna's character from the books in any way? Go down in those YouTube comments, reach out to me on social media, tell me what you think. If Anna was your favorite character, and I doubt she was anybody's favorite character, I want to hear it. Let's talk about it. I keep asking for your feedback, and I'm going to get to some right now. Reenie6, who has given me lots of great comments in the past, Reenie wrote, I'm a book reader, but it's been a while. The changes disturb me, but I'm trying to think of the show as a different story. For example, she says, it's funny to me that in the book Wool, Bernard is this teeny man, and in the show they cast Tim Robbins, who's 6'4". Yeah, that's a good point. The show really is so far from the books at this point. Are you guys consider them two different things? Once again, tell me and let me know. Somebody who's got the handle Count Choculas, wrote, oh boy, this is tough. They wrote, I absolutely hated this episode and all of the changes. I'm going to give it 1 or 2 more episodes to see if it can recover. But I love the book story so much, and we are so far from the book at this point that I'm not sure I want to keep watching. Whoa, that is brutal. I don't want to lose any of you guys. We're in this together. So, hey, keep watching, keep commenting, and I feel bad that you haven't been able to connect with it. I'll say that some of the things I do find intriguing, and the overall story I'm invested in. So even if I release one of my rants one of these weeks, and I feel I might release another one, I'm going to keep going. And I have a good attitude, and as tough as the amnesia is, and I'll talk about that in a bit, I'm still with the show. Somebody with the handle Just Give Me the Truth wrote, having read the books, I really like them. But if they made the series just like the books, it probably wouldn't work, and a lot of people wouldn't want to watch it. It's better that it's different. However, I just don't like the feel of this new season. They broke continuity, and it's like all the characters don't really know who they are. I'll hope for the best. So far, through 2 seasons, it's been great. Hey, keep hoping for the best. And there is good stuff in here. It's just really different. And the way, because they like this puzzle box, they like to not give us, we're not standing on good ground right now. We don't know what's going on. Even if we read the book, we don't think we know what's going on. So let's talk about it. You'll notice that so far, I've really only talked about the before times. I really haven't talked about Juliette, mainly because this episode and the first 2 episodes of season 2 in Silo 18, it is really difficult to come up with a correlation of how this matches up with the books. I've already said Juliette does not get amnesia in the books. They're giving her amnesia in the show. Now, the algorithm, in my opinion, I don't know if the voices actually changed so much, but this season they are having the algorithm talk much more like a person. In the non-spoiler stuff, I joke about how it's Hal from the movie 2001 because it's saying, I can feel it, I'm afraid. And you wouldn't think an algorithm would say things like this, but if you pay attention, this algorithm, or as it's sometimes subtitled, the overseer, is speaking as somebody who has a point of view. And I think that's very good for where they're going in the story. And a storyline I really don't ever talk about here in the book versus show spoiler section is the Orla Kent storyline. I have a hard time seeing where this lines up with anything in the books. Where do you think it's going? Now, I said in our non-spoiler breakdown here of episode 2, I said, well, I think Orla Kent is dead, and I think her boyfriend was evil, working with the evil judicial raiders and that kind of stuff. But do you see a book corollary for where this disagreement between supply and the mines, where it might be going? Yes, they're going to put the forget me now drugs in the water supply, but do you see any other way these things are going to tie together? Okay, I'm going to end this spoiler section of the podcast by talking about Bernard. And this is a show spoiler. It's not in the books. I said it last week, but I'm going to go a bit deeper into this and how I learned this spoiler and all sorts of stuff. So if you don't want any show spoilers, please jump away now, but please do subscribe. Leave me comments. I'm begging you. I need your thoughts as we go deeper and deeper into Silo 18. Okay, you ready? Giving everybody a chance to jump away. I'm going to talk about these Bernard spoilers again in 3, 2, 1. So last week I revealed, hey, Bernard survived. He's alive. I want to go a bit further into this because the way I described it, I was just trying to be quick and say, well, Apple released a clip of Bernard alive in season 3. It's a bit more complicated than that. So there was a YouTuber who was doing interviews with the stars. And so obviously they've got more, they're higher up the YouTube chain than I am. I don't have screeners for the show. I don't get to interview any of the stars. If I did, I certainly wouldn't give away huge spoilers. So this YouTuber did a series of videos where he would interview Silo creatives and stars, and he would put a clip that he had gotten, I assume from Apple TV or from the screeners before each interview. And so I was watching these. I'm a Silo podcaster. I want to know as much as possible. And I saw he had an interview, I believe, with the Sims, the actors who play the Sims. And I clicked on it. And before the interview even starts, it's a scene of Juliette walking up. There's a curtain there. Juliette moves the curtain and she sees Bernard in the bed scarred. I immediately stopped watching. I didn't want show spoilers. I had stumbled across this completely accidentally. But I'm like, oh man, they're having Bernard survive the fire. Anyway, long story short, I think within a day, that clip was removed from YouTube. Whichever person this was, I don't even remember. Whoever this YouTuber was who has access to the screeners and interviews that I can't get, I'd love to get them. Once again, I wouldn't spoil stuff like this. That person had taken the clip down. Now, admittedly, because I haven't watched it, I guess I would say that there is a chance that Juliette, she's in the antechamber that turns into the furnace with Bernard. After the door opens and people like Shirley can grab Juliette, they bring Juliette and Bernard down to the hospital to, rescue him, to make him better. And there's a chance that Juliette talked to Bernard then. Bernard said something he shouldn't. So Camille Sims told her husband, Robert Sims, go kill Bernard. And that's why Bernard puts the saran wrap around Bernard and kills him. So there is a chance that at this point in the story, Bernard is actually dead, and we're going to get a flashback to reveal, oh, he didn't immediately die. He talked to Juliette, and that's one of the reasons why we have to give Juliette these drugs. So I suppose that could be. I think it's much more likely, though, that Juliette is going to stop taking these forget-me-now drugs, and she's going to discover Lucas, and Lucas is going to have Bernard. That's my guess. Again, I wish I hadn't been spoiled on this show spoiler. Hopefully you're okay with this show spoiler because you're watching and listening to this. So I mentioned it last week. So that's kind of the full story about it. I got a lot of comments saying, no, can't be alive, you idiot. He's burned up in the furnace. So I would say he's either alive or, again, he talked to somebody, specifically Juliette, before he was killed. That is a spoiler for the show. I got a lot of feedback, but I want to read this one from Erica Tucker, who wrote, Bernard being alive would please me. I liked how his character developed, and it would be interested to see what he would do next. Maybe he would team up with Juliette. I don't know. Maybe Sims let him go and he didn't tell his wife Camille. I think that would be another great option to build this drama and build the Sims drama, which we all think is coming, but so far hasn't really come out the whole way. Okay, so that's the spoiler. That's the end of this spoiler section on episode 2. It's all good of season 3. Again, I want your thoughts. I read every one of them. They always make me consider things. And if there's a topic you guys want me to cover, please reach out and tell me. I'll talk to you next week.